welcome to this little show, small
Hi.
show. Yeah, thank you very much. We look at the camera. So, and your name is Aurelie, right? Aurelie.
Right.
Last name Kai, K-Y, right? Okay, great. Really appreciate your time.
Well, thank you for having me, for sure.
Yeah,
I'm very excited.
Yeah, as usual, and we can order the food first, so the kitchen can prepare the food, so you can check the menu. So
Okay. Do you know what you want?
I always have like some stuff, but I probably want to eat a little bit less right now.
Are you working out?
No, actually, I want to eat less and move less.
It's very efficient.
Actually, this is the new menu we just print out today. It's a new menu. Some items we could not do during the pandemic, we kind of removed them. Before was striked out, have a strike through the thing, so let people know it's not available. Now we just print the
so tell me what's new.
No, it's nothing new. The menu is new, but we just removed some items. So just printed yesterday. So
okay, got it.
So we can maybe get 2 appetizers, 1 or 2, and then 2 or 3 dishes or something.
Sounds good because I'm very hungry.
Yeah, that's a good sign. That's a good sign.
I was looking forward to it the whole week, so I'm very happy.
Yeah, that's.
So last time I came, I had the wonton with peanut butter sauce, which was really good.
Yeah, it's very sweet.
And I want to try something new.
Okay. You want? How about the noodle salad?
Okay.
That's very Chinese.
Let's do that. Noodle salad.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and something else for the appetizer?
We have imperial rolls. I've been craving them.
Oh, actually, I take that one too. It's
okay.
Yeah, it's very interesting. They're small, but it's kind of vegetable. Like it's kind of tasty, but it's small. As with the price, some people may be a little bit upset with the price.
Well, I'm from France, so it's all about quality rather than quantity.
Okay. Do you want some? Do you want to eat spicy food?
Yeah, I would take a mix: spicy food, non-spicy food. I love spicy.
Okay. Have you tried the twice cooked pork?
No. Let's do that.
It's a little bit spicy, a little bit fatty. It's fine.
Okay.
Okay, that one. I really like that one.
Okay, I'll follow your recommendation.
And what else? What else?
Do you mean it's twice cooked because you cook it twice here, or has it been cooked before and then you have to cook it when it comes here?
Actually, when we prepare them, we always boil them like a day or several days before, so prior. So that's like first cook is boil them, and then you let them like cool down, and then you cut into pieces, and then you do that, stir fry everything in the wok. So that's why it's twice cooked pork. So
interesting. So is it really moist?
I don't know. I don't know why it's needed, to be honest. Yeah, you got me. I don't know cooking, so.
Because I think you can make it twice as expensive because you cook it twice.
No, the first time is only boil.
Okay.
And if you look at the YouTube videos, sometimes how they make it, even it's a pork belly, the skin, they even they put that like the skin side on the red hot wok to kind of burn it a little bit, and then you boil, and with some ginger, garlic, whatever, just make special. I don't think that's necessary, but it looks like a ritual from the old times.
Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. They have to get burn the one side a little bit and then boil. We just boil. We don't do that. We don't.
I wonder if that has to do with the germs, like killing microbes, because you boil it more, so you make sure that there's no disease in the pork.
I was told it's like like the skin side, they have a little bit hair, probably. So they kind of make sure it burn out the hair. Could be.
Could be.
Yeah. But nothing to do with germs, though, because you boil them, when you stir fry, any germ they cannot survive.
Okay.
So what else?
What else? Good question.
Yeah.
Is the pork spicy? Should we take something spicy?
It's not so spicy though, medium.
Okay, let's get something spicy then. You know what? I'm not a big fan of lamb. Is that popular here?
It is good one.
Yeah?
You like it, lamb?
No, I don't. I don't like lamb.
It's not worth it, to be honest.
Okay.
This one, it's like a big one, and then you have the fire, the alcohol.
Okay.
Yeah, if you really like it, it's the bones. Are you okay with bones? No, it's gonna look ugly, look weird on the camera, and
it's gonna be original. I just wonder how you eat that with the bones.
just with hand or the chopsticks, and then some bones you just put back.
And if people choke on it, can they sue you?
I don't know. I don't think we're liable for that one, but never happened. Never happened.
Get insurance.
You want to try the calamari?
Yeah. Okay, I was gonna look for that.
Okay.
Calamari.
And the vegetable, like it, you want to have cabbage stir fry or the dry green beans. Those two are very popular. Or the eggplant, potato, bell pepper.
I like all vegetables, so it's hard to choose.
Yeah, maybe the stir fry cabbage. Try that one.
Yeah.
Or the
Okay.
green beans. Those two are really popular.
Let's do green beans. I just bought green beans actually.
Okay, let's do green beans. Do you want steamed rice?
Yeah, on the side?
Okay, yeah.
That'd be perfect, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Wow, somebody downstairs is really loud. Okay.
It's lively.
Yeah. I bring
Thank
this to the kitchen. Okay, we'll be right back.
Not too much stuff. What's this?
It's pad thai.
This,
I'll have a pad thai.
wow, this guy is so loud.
What's that?
Oh, the guy downstairs is really loud. Ordering food. It's crazy. Let me take a look at this. Still running. Yeah, that's good. So let's back here.
So how have you been?
It's been interesting. The pandemic, nothing is normal. Nothing is normal. We got, to be honest, we got good business, amount of business, but we just don't have enough people, so we have to rearrange a lot of things. So we remove some items from the menu as well. So I have to work a lot of time here, spend a lot of time working.
Yeah.
Very difficult to find people.
But what about takeouts? Is it popular?
Takeout is popular, but takeout we are, even as of today, probably we're gonna make a little bit switch to remove the takeout orders a lot, because takeout, we just do the little bit the calculation. It's not worth doing at all right now. Looks like, for example, Uber Eats take 30% off, so you get only 30% commission for on the sales, and you only have 70 maximum. Also, right now,
Do you get tips during takeouts or no?
no, nothing.
Yeah.
But the problem is recently, starting 2 months ago, I believe like everything went up crazy. So the ingredients before was taking, for example, maybe the overall cost made 30%, 20%. Now goes to 40 or 50%, or even. So it's not you take that the cost of the food, maybe 40 jumped from 20 to 40 something. It's not worth making it. Sometimes I think it's crazy because the cost of everything went up a lot.
Have you considered lowering your prices for like a month or two, so you get all the customers, all the market, and then you increase once they get addicted to your food?
That one is
It's capitalism.
Yeah, that one I guess I would do the opposite probably, because like
It's counterintuitive, but if you need more people, just lower the price first, and then they come.
But at the same time, you cannot find enough people working. You cannot find staff, so it's kind of suicide. I think it's kind of suicide.
Even if it's summer and students are looking for jobs.
No, right now, even the big restaurants they cannot find people.
But are you still working in your IT job?
No, I'm done. I'm finished like last April, end of last April, 2000, because of the pandemic. Because of the pandemic.
So you could get unemployment?
Actually, I had a little bit package. The company kind of
like a severance.
Yeah. And then after that, I was working, so I did not apply for that benefit.
Okay.
So I guess I was working full time here. So yeah. Anyway, so we met when like
a few months ago, I believe.
Yeah. You had a great podcast.
Did you listen?
Yeah. I listened several of them. Like last one was Roger, like cool. From Hawaii. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could say that. I don't know. Interesting. In that podcast, I can feel like he's a little bit against like the white woman, something like, right?
I think this is
some of the medical
some of the medical field are tough, and I think in general it's mostly dominated by white in general. So I don't know if it applies to, because I work in science as well, but in research, and I don't think I have a certain discrimination. But I think it's important to hear that, because then he was able to see that in a Karen movement. But I don't know if it's
a little bit
possible to generalize.
Yeah, I think a little bit. I think a little bit too much, because you see a little bit unfair everywhere. I think like some like a little bit like a disadvantage of treatment. A little bit. Sometimes you have to overcome. Sometimes, and I don't know. I felt like this guy a little bit. Is a little bit like think that too much, I guess. But everybody has their own experience. Yeah,
it's true. And if that's your whole bubble, because I think med school is very demanding on you, that you would take a lot of hours during your day, during your weekends, so that's all your life. But if you expand it, like let's say you go to another country, I don't think they have that much of a impact on discrimination. Discrimination's everywhere, but I think it's hard to just pinpoint one school and be like, this is the way it works for all med schools. But
actually, you are in the medical something, right? You said your profession is neuro.
Yeah, I'm in neuroscience, so I'm doing research.
Neuroscientist, that's a big thing. Yeah, that's like this kind of field is, some people working this field is super smart, right? It's like mathematics smart.
It depends. It's very broad. So in neuroscience, you have the cognitive part, which is more psychology. So you would look at behavior, you would look at patients. It's mostly clinical. You can diagnose mental diseases. You also have a branch for pharmacology, where you treat more drugs towards the brain and see what are the effects on the body. You can also study animals.
But how many years have you in the school for this thing? How many years?
I've only done my master's.
Oh, master's on this one, so the bachelor is something else.
I did my bachelor's in neuroscience and psychology, so I got a double degree, and then I went to McGill and got my master's in neuroscience.
So that's totally gonna be 7, 5 plus 2?
Around that. Around that.
Wow. So after that, like, wow, that's kind of a lot of solid.
How long did your engineering degree take?
4 years.
4 years? Oh, okay.
So medical something, maybe 5 years or something else?
No, you just add 2. I mean, the master's is only 2 years.
Yeah, master 2.
Because I don't, here's the difference. I'm not a doctor, so I don't treat patients. I just do the research behind the doors and see try to understand the science behind it.
Okay. But after school, like from the McGill University, after that, like you went work for sometimes?
Yeah, I've been working again in research. I worked at a hospital. Now I work in a pharmaceutical company.
Yeah.
So you can do research in different settings. You can either work for schools, do academia and publish papers. So it's interesting because then people are going to get inspired by your papers and see what kind of treatments or medicine they can develop out of that research that you took. But it's very low pay. And it's a huge life dedication, and you have to spend your weekends, all your brain, and a lot of people cannot really maintain the balance between their work because it's really, really demanding. Or
so it means
also,
like more than 40 hours every week? A lot more than?
It's not more, it's flexibility.
Okay.
Because during the day, if you perform your experiments, you might want to take breaks because while it's running, you can do something else.
Okay.
Take a break or read a paper or do something. So it happened so many times that I had to go in a lab during the weekends, and I really didn't like it because I wanted to have a life outside of that.
Really? Cool.
Yeah.
But right now you are doing that, you are not doing this job anymore, or are you?
No, I'm not in academia anymore.
Okay.
And
that's why you have the podcast.
I have time to do something else. So in private industry, this is where you have more life balance. You also get more money. But every research that you do belongs to the company. Your brain belongs to the company.
Okay.
That's why you don't claim like you cannot get a Nobel Prize. Like everything you do is for the team.
Oh, actually, you still work for a company instead of academic or something.
Yeah,
you work
but in academia, you get your name on the paper.
Okay. So right now you work for, employed for a company?
Yeah, exactly. So I think I decided that.
That's still in the field, right?
It's still in the field. I still work in neuroscience. Yeah.
That's good.
I think you need to find what works for you at what time point of your life, because I'm in my 30s and I think of, traveling, settling down.
It's not easy, right?
It's not worth it to put all my hours into my job.
Yeah. So, but this private company, they just regular 9 to 5, right?
Exactly, 9 to 5. They're really nice, and you know what? We get summer hours.
Yeah.
So this is the reason why I can be here.
Okay, Friday you leave early.
Exactly.
So,
Friday you leave at 2.
Yeah.
And it's really nice. And I was like, wait, so do you have to catch up the hours, like 1 hour every other day? And they're like, no, it's free for you.
That's really nice. Actually, you mentioned you were born in Paris, France, or really?
I was born in Paris, France.
So like till when you came to Montreal, or what is your kind of movements?
Lots and lots. Yeah. So I was born in France.
Yeah.
Grew up there my whole life, and then I moved to the States when I was 21. I didn't like what I was studying in France. I was in art and it didn't work out for me. I think I was just not
but
very
French in France, you get a lot of hours off. You work much less, even less hours than you do now, right?
I don't know about that because Canada has more work opportunities. So France has less when it comes to research. Okay. It's less well-funded, so you get more jobs here.
Okay.
But I don't think it's as stressful as the US. In the US, you get a lot more opportunities, like in big cities like Boston, San Francisco, but you just get stressed all the time. You feel guilty when you take vacation. Even when you take like a half day off because you feel sick or you have your period or you have a fever.
So to the US, 21, how many years you stay there, doing universities?
Yeah, and then working as well. 6-7 years. So I was in Los Angeles, Philadelphia, and Boston.
That's all the cities I want to go.
Really?
Yeah, that's kind of, especially Boston and San Francisco. That crazy.
Did you say you had family in the States or no?
No, I have no family anywhere except in China.
Yeah. Are your parents still in your village?
Yeah, still in village. So it's not easy to move for them. Especially, I guess, right now, my dad is 75 already. And with the condition of the body, I don't think he's even fit to travel within China, but different cities.
Do you mean because of his health reasons?
Yeah,
or because of the pandemic?
The health reasons. I guess when he's 75, and then the whole life was doing the heavy labor, and then every part of the body is not up to plus the age, so not easy to. I don't feel it's good idea to fly on a plane. It's
true. You have to be conscious of your own limits and your own boundaries. And I think that that goes for every age. It's not just a number thing. It's we all have different limits.
Yeah, but that's amazing. So you have everywhere. So Europe, then United States, several years, 6-7 years, and then moved to Montreal directly.
I moved to Montreal directly. Yeah.
Not in Toronto. Nobody likes Toronto.
To be fair, I haven't visited Toronto a lot. I've only spent an afternoon with my parents when they came to visit. So my mom and my stepdad, they've seen Montreal before. They've seen like quite a lot of the region, and I haven't. So they took me there. We rented a car. We went to Toronto to see the tower, but it was part of a several-day trip. We went to see the Thousand Islands. That was absolutely gorgeous.
That's the Queen's University there, right?
Queen's is in what's
is that Kingston?
That's in Kingston. So it's on the way. We stopped there at the hotel, and if you get a chance to go on a boat to see the islands, it's so worth it. And I'm boat sick. Like I'm so sick. I get seasick. I hate that. I hate when it's rocking and I feel like throwing up and feeding the fishes. It's so bad.
I'm opposite.
You love the water?
I lived on boat for 2 years when I was 5-6. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it got rid of the motion sickness. It was just impossible. But for me, it was bad memory from taking the car, being claustrophobic.
Yeah. Kingston is amazing. Kingston. I've been there once too. Probably I took the same boat as you did. The several boats, right? They tell you which island belongs to Canada or United States, right?
Yeah.
I guess we did the same route.
But I think so. I got so impressed because some people can build gorgeous houses. Some people choose to live it the way it is, and I think I would leave it wild, so I can go camping, and have the experience of there's no running water, no electricity,
primitive,
and also there's nothing to rob. Because there's so many tourists coming up there. I'm wondering if you have a big house and then people just come in front of your door just to look at your house every single day would be annoying.
Yeah. Wow. So Montreal, you mentioned McGill University, and then. So that's quite impressive. You have a lot of experience with different countries, places. That's kind of you're born to like immigrants from Cambodia. You mentioned, right? Both of your parents.
Both of my parents. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the food is ready. Yeah. So let's get the food first.
Okay.
This one. Thank you.
It looks delicious.
So this is we bought them from a factory directly. So I bought it. If they have the same brand, it's supposed to be the same.
Okay.
So just deep fry them. Yeah, I will use my hand. Yes.
Do you make the sauce?
Yeah, we make the sauce.
I'm not very good with chopsticks. Growing up, we only had forks, knives, and spoons at home. And it's only around 6 or 7 I started having a complex because all the Asian kids could use chopsticks and I couldn't. So I started learning.
But Cambodia, do they people in Cambodia they use chopsticks too, right?
They use everything.
Cambodia.
Yeah, I've only visited once, so I don't think I have a representative perspective on it.
Yeah, but your parents are they good at chopsticks or?
Both. I think it depends on the dish. Sometimes we use fork. I think most of the times it's fork and spoons. I don't know if it's laziness. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm always interested with second generation immigrants, from you were born in Paris or Montreal or, like second generation, because they don't have any root with the home country or some, at least that's why I'm very interested, because I look at my daughter, she's 8, see what she's thinking. Sometimes I want to figure out what she's thinking.
Yeah, but do you teach her Mandarin?
Only speaking right now. Oh, I have some sauce. But Cambodia, like when you grew up, like do you have a lot of Cambodian friends near? I don't think so, right? Not so many, just family friends.
Actually, yeah, when I was younger, my parents, they had a surrounding, and in Paris there's a Chinatown, so this is
Okay.
where I grew up. And my grandma was living in the same building, so
Okay.
there's a lot of Asian people. And even in school, I don't think I was the minority.
Really?
Yeah,
But they're
but they're not necessarily Cambodian. There's all over the place.
Vietnamese, yeah,
Vietnamese, Chinese,
Yeah.
Japanese. Yeah, like there's a bunch of
Yeah,
immigrants.
but Asia is really huge. So do you like? I don't know. For your perspective, like you're from Cambodia, do you think like fellow Asians, like which one is closer? Or because East Asia, like Japanese, Korean, and Chinese, they're very close, even the culture. But the Vietnamese and also Indian, especially Pakistan, they are a little bit very different from. But Cambodia is closer to Vietnamese or right or Thai. Is that like some group like you see? I feel more like closer to another group.
I see what you mean, but it comes down to your question as, do we put immigrants in the same boat because we get treated the same way?
Yeah.
So it's mostly others who see us the same rather than us seeing
No,
us
I mean
as
the
different.
culture, like easier to accept or more familiar, like the way we eat or the food we eat, and the way we think.
It's hard to say because
Because for
It's
Chinese,
not-
for sure, like we will say, like first of all, will be Chinese. You see, or speak the same language
Yeah.
and they eat the same food. You will say, okay, probably my people or something.
Yeah.
But you see, Japanese, Koreans maybe a little bit closer. Okay, but if Indian or some Pakistan, we probably say a little bit further. We probably say like even we're in from Asia, but my perspective or some of our friends, we see them as like the rest of the world sometimes.
I see what you mean. But here's the difference of culture because I grew up in France, right? So France is colorblind. We don't really associate ourselves with that culture. I mean, at least when I grew up, it was difficult to say, "Oh, I'm Cambodian" or "Oh, I'm Chinese" or something. It was mostly, "Oh, we're French." Like,
Okay.
especially my parents, they really, really tried. Like, I have a French name, and we only spoke French at home, so it was more important for us to develop that identity to be integrated. So, I don't think I care much to
Okay, who
to find people from the past because also I think maybe it has to do with the trauma from the war that even my mom never came back to Cambodia. Like
Okay.
I think they left the past in the past. But my dad is more traditional. So when I lived in Boston, there's a huge Cambodian community,
Okay.
and he was telling me he was like very excited, and he says, "Well, you should like try to make friends." And I tried. Like in my company that I was working, there were a few Cambodians, and they were so Cambodian power,
Really?
celebrating the Cambodian New Year. They invited me in the town. They had a huge celebration. They had a parade, and I loved it. It was so cool. I could understand a few of them, and it was super cool. I just think it's another part of me that I haven't developed, and maybe I will. Maybe one day I'll have children, and I'll want to reconnect with the roots. But so far, even in terms of language, it's hard to even connect. Even with my grandmother, like she doesn't speak very good French. She understands some bits, but because I don't speak Cambodian, it's hard to have a connection, even with my own
Okay.
culture.
Because like the culture thing sometimes like when you were born there's that's why I think second generation it could be different feeling because for me like I came here several years 15 years so I'm the first generation immigrant so I'm hardwired with Chinese so I see a lot of things I will compare to Chinese way of something so I'm hardwired. But if like people like my daughter, she's born here, so that connection may not be there at all. So probably I'm just hanging out with, like in her world, probably like people from everywhere. They are the same. As long as you play with them, you are nice. They have toys together, so she's super happy. So, but for like that's why I'm really interested with like people born here when they see the people from probably the same country or same region or they have similar culture.
Yeah.
What do they think? Sometimes, it could be very different.
And honestly, I feel really Western until someone else makes me think that I'm not. Like
Really?
they would make a comment or remark. They would like I don't know. They would have the Asian racism during COVID. I got some racial slurs, and this is when
Seriously?
they make me feel like I'm not Western. But otherwise, I think culturally, all the references, the TV, the music, the cinema, everything's Western in my head.
Yeah, exactly. You were born there. You were born in Paris, so supposed to be Parisian, right?
Parisian, yeah. It's not a really good stereotype in Montreal. So I have Parisian, American. Do you like mixing?
This one has to be mixed.
Okay.
Yeah, because like the sauce will be, they poured the sauce. It's a sesame paste.
Ooh, is it like tahini?
What is the hint?
Tahini is an ingredient in hummus, and it's sesame.
You know, I only know sometimes the ingredients in Chinese. That's why sometimes the countries from you can get some here.
Okay, thank you. Do you want me to serve you?
No, you can put your plate.
Looks very good.
我写了花生云了吗？应该有吧。帮我写一个花生云吞，我忘了写了。花生云吞啊。
It's very slippery. So do people ask for knives or something?
Knives not so much, but fork yes. This one probably should have 2 forks to get them work together. I can borrow this here.
I love cucumber. Cucumber is really expensive at the store.
Yeah, it's crazy now. I bought several like before you came. I went out to we ran out of the cucumbers.
Thank you.
Let's get this 2 together. So this noodle is very crazy, special. The texture. Some people, I guess Asians should be fine. At least like people get exposed to Chinese food before, like Vietnamese. And we had a lot of good customer from Korea, South Korea. They like our food a lot. So
I eat everything.
because the pork belly thing, like Koreans and Chinese, we share the same. Both of us like the pork belly. It's a little bit greasy.
So I know Cambodian food has a lot of influence from France. Same as Vietnam, like the banh mi with the baguette.
Yeah.
So I grew up with a fusion, French food and Asian food.
So growing up in Paris, I guess as a kid you did not feel anything like a race thing, just playing around, right?
Oh no, of course not. There are racist people everywhere. It's just that no one talks about it, and it's not like now.
At what age you realize like there's a race difference?
Probably no, even before. Even with teachers, I think they always like judge you more
Really?
when you're not doing good in like French or languages. They're like, what language do you speak at home? They always like think that because you don't look white, then your French is not as good.
My daughter, she does not feel anything. Like she's laughing every day, crazy happy, and
That's why I want to raise my kids in Canada. It looks better.
because the school, I guess, more than half of them, the parents are not born here, so naturally they will say, "Oh, what language you speak at home?" Something. They have little cards or something. They did not mean anything bad or something. So it's just a fact. So people, all the kids, they share the information.
Also, the question I get a lot is instead of asking, where do you come from? They ask with a random Asian country name, like, are you Japanese or Korean? And I'm like, why do you want to show off that you know some country names?
But sometimes when I see customer with Asian face, like sometimes I would ask too, like are you Chinese, or because if they speak Chinese, probably easier to switch to Chinese instead of English.
I heard it was a business thing. So when you know the different types of Chinese or the different types of Asian, you can also create this bond, negotiate better. But here we're not negotiating, so.
I guess in Canada, a lot of time they always ask. Even I ask sometimes, where you come originally, like.
Because Canada is such a new country.
Yeah. Always, everybody is coming from anywhere. So you always say where you come. Even some people, like they been here Montreal for a long time. You can tell they speak good French or English. Some still they ask where you come from originally, or maybe second generation. But sometimes I think as a child of immigration could be an advantage. I think it's a good thing for you or for my daughter, because when you are like have a parents of immigrants, you speak more languages at least, and also you're more open-minded. And a lot of times the background, the immigration, the country, the parents' background, they have the work ethic. They work hard. Sometimes
It's true.
Yeah, they normally a lot of time they ask their kids to do better at school. So education, most time they have really, I'm not sure, but by average it should be higher than a lot of the people like being in the country generations. So you see, I see a lot of like we call CBC, and a lot of CBC they really great. Yeah, so
thank you. Okay. That's sweet. So, oops. Thank you so much. Yeah, I agree with that, but it's a little bit sad because I also see them as the sacrificial generation. So they sacrifice everything so that we can have everything.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's what they chose to do.
And I'm wondering if it's just an instinct, You live a hard life, you want your child to have the best. Because you don't want your child to live through what you live through.
Yeah, I think that's true. And even I'm first generation. I was like, an IT engineer. I speak some English, so I can find a job like almost the same. Nobody gonna pay me extremely high, or somebody gonna pay me extremely low. So I was okay as a IT engineer. So just had a chance to live outside.
And then you said that your parents didn't force you into studying anything. They could
Not at all.
let you choose. So that's very wonderful. You have very open mind.
I don't think they're open-minded, but because they were so hard on them, the life was so hard on them, so they did not have any.
Thank you.
So they did not have any extra time to think about, to plan for their kids. I don't think that's their case. So it's they can barely survive. They could barely survive. So as long as the kids, the children are breathing, alive, so they were fine. So the career will be it's never something they think of. That's already the best they could provide.
Yeah.
But then after the last 20 or 30 years, the country was kind of getting rich. So now we have a generation called the parents very rich, so their kids, they can live off their parents. The super rich, we call the pingdi. What is that? Pingdi means like compete between daddies. Yeah, when you have a good daddy, like rich daddy. I mean, not good or bad, but rich dad. So you don't have to work at all. So you were born with a lot of money. So
But do you think it's sustainable because money makes money? Or do you think after that generation that's spoiled, it's going to be over? How do you sustain that wealth?
I think like the richest, like Mr. Wang, and he gave his son like 100 million. 100 million give it to his son to play with it. So his son make like $1 billion with that money. So his son was boasting, like bragging on the internet, saying, "See, I'm good at the money, investment, good at investing." But you have the
How old
luxury.
is the son?
Maybe 30 something, yeah.
Okay.
So, some rich kid, but sometimes they can keep, but it doesn't matter if I had I would have the chance to try. But the maybe a lot of rich kids, some of them they can take this, some of them they can keep the wealth, some of them they could not, but at least they had the chance. Like this kid he was famous in China because he was like living a very luxury life, meeting with the actress, the stars.
But there's so much you can do with that money. Sure, you can invest it to make more money. There's also so much you can make to help other people, like building schools, hospital. You can change the life of people with that. You can change a whole culture. You can save the environment.
I think so. But if I had that money, probably I would do that too.
I think it's good to invest part of it for yourself. It's also good to give some to others because not everybody has the same chance. And I think, as you were mentioning, children of immigrants, they can appreciate the chance that they have because they've seen their parents. Like, it's right in your face, in your household. You can see your parents struggle so much. So you know that not everybody has the chance to get education, to get health. And that was also my mission with pursuing education. It's for people who didn't have the chance to, like people who went through wars, people who went through sickness. It's not something we should take for granted.
I guess, yeah, you're right. A lot of problem is caused by the education. People that did not have enough education did not have chance, about the poor kids. But it's not so many people have the resources, and then they want to do that, so make it really hard. But at least I see a good thing about Asian parents. At least they invest a lot of their resources on the kids' education. Especially here, like North America, I see a lot of Asian immigrants, Asian second generation. They are doing really well, at least academically, all right.
Yeah. But there's also, this crisis for people who don't get perfect grades, perfect scores.
Yeah.
Then they don't feel Asian enough. And I think it's all right if you want to take time for yourself, not know exactly what you want to do, if you don't know if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, or please your parents or whatever.
But do you have kind of pressure, like don't do as good as other kids, or?
I mean, I was raised in a weird family. I think there was some competition, but I don't think it was as bad as what I've heard, like from stories where you have to compete with your brothers and sisters and your cousins, and you always have to have the best grades. I don't think it was this bad in my family. But I heard that some people push their kids so hard.
Yeah. Asian families, Asian parents, it's Chinese. I know Chinese parents are very.
It's a way to show love because it's for it comes from a good intention, but you don't want to break the trust or the love that you have just for performance.
But what kind of arts do you perform? Like a lot of kids, they know piano, swimming, even like chess. What you're good at?
Piano.
Piano? Do you know the level? How much? Like you pass some levels?
I don't know my level. I played for 11 years.
Well, that's so. How can we tell? How can you tell it's good or not? Just like if you know any song, you can play it out, or like.
No, I don't think I'm this good. So I didn't go to the conservatory. I just played, I had a teacher, and I never wanted to compete on that because I wanted it to be fun.
Okay.
And if I start competing, it would take the fun out of it. So it would become like school. You would have to be ranked and you would have to be judged, and I didn't want that. It was the only thing that I said, no, leave this as a hobby, and music is just going to be fun.
I think, that's, I know nothing about anything, so that's, I think I should have something to show off. I always think, okay, people have some, they can play piano, okay, they have one room as a piano you can show off. That would be great.
What about language?
I don't know. Language, I have nothing to show off. Yeah, but the immigrants, you speak three: French, English, Cambodian, and maybe other.
I don't speak Cambodian.
Oh, Cambodian, you said no. French, English? That's not many. That's not many as an immigrant, from immigration family. That's not.
In school, but in Europe, we have to learn a lot of years of languages. So I technically got 10 years of English, 8 years of German, 4 years of Italian.
Oh,
we don't practice.
Okay.
It's like, I think the teaching was not super good because we don't get a lot of practice.
But the Italian should be very, very close to French.
Yeah, it is. So it's easy for us to
You
understand.
just change the tone. You speak okay Italian, just make a tone or something.
If you speak very slowly,
Yeah.
I can understand.
That's really beauty, you know. When I was in Brazil for a project business trip, like we were doing test with the Italian guys. They do the fax machine test, and then they just write paper in Portuguese, and they reply in Italian, and they were doing fine.
How many languages do you teach your daughter?
Only I cannot teach you anything. I guess my Chinese is not that great either. I don't. I cannot teach her English. Everything she learned by herself. I think the school will be French, English, and then at home, my in-laws speak with her like in Mandarin, in Chinese.
Oh, okay.
So I try to take the easy way. So whatever but she's not. I think she's not mature. She's 8, but she talks like 6. Every day happy, and then it's not the language skill. She has perfect language skills on French, English, but the way she talks it's like a baby. But some other 8 years old, some of them they talk really crazy stuff, you know. But she's not. She's just kind of silly, you know. It's not it's not a thinker, at least.
But this is what you say on the podcast. You have to laugh.
Yeah,
She's
crazy happy. She's happy every day. She's in a summer camp now. You can try this.
Okay. I'm excited for this one. That's the one I already had.
Super sweet.
You don't like it?
I like it, but it's addictive.
I agree. Sugar.
I guess
So that's what I was thinking. So as a parent, are you excited to be able to do more adult stuff with your daughter, or are you one of those parents who are afraid she's gonna grow old too fast and not take her time to be a kid anymore?
I don't know. It's scary. I think it's a little bit scary, for myself, because right now we can still talk. I think have fun. But when she's 15, 14, she has her home friends will never, even you probably don't spend a lot of time with your parents. At least I don't.
I just talked to my dad today.
I think especially the kids, they're growing up here, so it's kind of very Western. But there's a very, very delicate balance between West and East, the way the family. Like in China, it's too much connection. Mm-hmm. You know, parents super good to taking great care of their kids, so they are super protective and they do a lot of things for the kids. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, mentally they require kids show them more respect, listen to them more. So they very judgmental.
But is it hard when they start dating and starting to have their own family, because then the family has to approve of who they marry?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, not only that, even the tiny thing, the trivial thing, like they couldn't judge you on everything. They think, oh, you should not meet this guy. This guy is not good, and you should choose this career. This career make more money, more stable, right? They because kind of they are too good to you, very good to you. So by like treating you really super well, they expect you to listen to them more. They expect you. They want to make more decisions for you. So that's the very Eastern way.
It's a trade-off.
Yeah, it's a trade-off, but that's why I see a lot of Chinese family here. The kids rebel like crazy, really crazy, because that's we call generational gap, generation gap.
I agree with that. You know what my mom said? It was super interesting because when she came to France, she was in her 20s, and she also started detaching from the Asian culture and starting to get interested in how French people behave and what's their culture and stuff. And she said that in Asia, it's exactly what you said. You have to pay respect to your elders and you give them gifts and stuff. But in France, it's the opposite. The children are your everything. So in terms of gifts, she was like, yeah, I have to gift my elders. But in France, you have to gift to your children. But no one gives me any gifts.
So this rice and it's a little bit cold already. It's kind of a burden sometimes, like what is that? Psychological burden. They treat you too well, so they expect the return.
But do you think it's like your retirement plan are your children?
You mean like
they'll take care of you when they're old?
I don't think so. That's because I think I adapted really well, more than I supposed to. So even I'm like, but I'm really like open, like crazy, like even kind of way before like my peers. So I already adapted like you take care of the kids, like let them grow their own ideas, and that's all. We provide their basic stuff because everything is individual. Everybody is individual. Myself, I think this way already. So I don't say this is for this one originally. So that's why I'm like some kind of weird. So for me, it's easy for like very easy for me to adapt here.
Yeah, you were saying that adapting is one of your quality, one of your traits.
Yeah, I really like the way people think here. So it's just like you take your own responsibility. So even like you live in a wild and nobody takes care of you, but you have freedom.
But do you seek change?
Or
do you think that change happens to you and you just adapt, but do you seek in a certain way? I don't know, let's say tomorrow you make a decision, you sell the restaurant, you go live in the South Pole.
No, I don't think so.
Because
I'm
will
lazy.
Adapt.
Yeah, I'm lazy too. A lot of time I was forced to adapt.
Okay.
So a lot of times I did not make some change for myself, big change for myself. I just go with the flow, kind of. But like opening a restaurant, I just kind of it is a big change to somebody else, but I did not see that's a big change because I had my own job, full-time job. So
was it not a big risk financially? I felt like
exactly. So I have my basic income from the job. So as long as the restaurant was not losing money, so I was super happy already. So that's kind of it's not a very hard decision for me.
it's really good.
Okay. The calamari, I don't eat this often. Now, how is your podcast thing? The 40 something, right? 40?
Hmm?
How many episodes already? 40?
Oh yeah, maybe 44.
Yeah.
It's coming out every Thursday, and I'm running a little bit behind on my editing, so I'm not sure I can cover the whole month of August because I'm leaving on Wednesday, going back to France for a month,
Okay.
and I want to enjoy my vacation.
There's no quarantine there, or it's still quarantine?
There's no quarantine. They're being more careful now because they have a rise in cases, so we're talking about the Delta variant. So it's pretty scary. I don't know. I'll try to be careful, but from what I've heard from my friends, they're all partying and not really caring.
So your podcast, like, it started like during the pandemic, right? It was during the.
Mhm. Yeah, last summer.
And why do you like having your own podcast?
I like for once controlling my own things because I've only worked as an employee my whole life, working for other people, and this time I get to control it. It's my project, even though it's not very big at the moment. I'm not saying it won't get ambitious, but I like to be able to have my own vision, give the voice to people I want to hear.
Yeah, I see a lot of people on the show has very interesting stories.
Have you had other interviews?
Yeah. So this is the fourth. I have fifth. Probably I can. Right now I'm pretty busy as well with the restaurant stuff. It's crazy. So probably next week I have scheduled next week, and then maybe one or two. I guess probably 7 total. I see this month or next month. Because a lot of time I don't eat in the restaurant, so this give me a lot of chances to eat the food as well.
Do you have a favorite type of food besides Asian food?
I guess would be a steak. I really like a steak, and their bread. Normally they baked by themselves inside the restaurant. That is really good. Most of the time, when I eating those French or Italian restaurant, the bread I always ask for more. So even before the appetizer, I was full already. I will be full already. So it's really, especially the good ones, they always have their own bread.
Do you mean the free bread they give in a basket?
Yeah. Normally I ask several times, 2 times.
It's very funny.
Yeah. It's very, very delicious.
So, I don't know, it's less common in the United States. Maybe in the cities that I live, they don't give bread. You have to ask, or sometimes they make you pay for it.
Really? Here it's free. At least several places I tried, they were included. It's included. Especially the one in West Island, the Italian one. They give you the non-packet. It's called what is that called? Scarlet or something. Yeah, it's Scarlet. It's on Saint Jean, Brunswick, the corner. It's a really nice one.
So my friend and I, we started this challenge during the pandemic because we both like to cook and bake. And every 2 weeks we would cook a bread from different parts of the world. And it would be a challenge to have like the best looking bread. It was really funny because it pushed you to get outside of your comfort zone and to discover something new. And we both like bread, so it worked out.
Yeah, that Italian restaurant they use the French baguette, and the waiter will give you the long board and then put down, and then with a knife. And sometimes you cannot finish. You can take away the long one. It's a French baguette. But no, did anybody try the Chinese bread? No.
I think it's fatter. It's not as crusty, crunchy.
Yeah.
Also, I was working in a French restaurant when I was 19 as a summer job, and we would get a bread from this bakery delivered every morning.
That would be super fresh.
Super fresh. They get it delivered to your door. And it was my job to cut the bread, and everybody was trying to get several pieces. Like, they don't just take one, they take like plenty. And it was free, so that's okay. And at the end of the day, there were always people like, can I have more bread? And we would have to go to the bakery by foot and then buy the bread and then come back and give it to them.
Jeez.
Every day. And I'm like, you should just order more.
Yeah, France, like, it's crazy, a lot of bread, and
Very good bread.
And the sandwich as well. When I was in Paris, like several days, I ate a lot of sandwich. But your podcast will keep going for like.
Yeah, it keeps going.
And it is very interesting. You have some episodes in French, some in English.
You know, at first, I created the podcast for my students because I wanted them to have a platform to practice comprehension for both English and French because I teach both languages online. And I didn't want to have boring conversations. And I didn't want to just have people from one region. I wanted to have different accents. All the accents. So there's not just one standard accent because some people pick me because I'm from France, from Paris, and they think it's the standard accent. And I'm like, but there's so many other beautiful accents like Quebec
accent.
Yeah, like from the Caribbeans, from Africa. It's beautiful to have diversity and to not just get used to one accent. People get obsessed with France.
They don't teach French, you teach English, and you have the podcast, and you have a full-time job. That's more than what I did.
Well, but it's easier because I don't have a family. I'm single, so I have all the time in the world.
Yeah, time is. That's why a lot of people ask why did we have only one kid. Like when we opened restaurant, our baby was only 1 year old.
Wow.
And if we did not have the restaurant, probably we'll have second kid, probably. But with the restaurant so crazy, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, because your mom wanted you to have several children.
Yeah, and also, but with any kid, like you just don't have enough. Right now, we are everywhere. Like we have to go send her to the summer camp, pick up, and then some camp is easy. Otherwise, have more stuff. And we still need to squeeze some time for her piano and swimming as well.
Yeah, I swim every Friday. Can go to the swimming pool for free.
That's good. So, back to your skills, like the piano and what?
Dance, piano and dance.
What kind of dance?
All kinds of dance. So that was my own initiative. I don't think my parents ever pushed me. It was my friends doing it, so I was inspired. Sure, thank you.
Oh, really?
And I signed up on my own. As like a kid, I was like, I want to do this, and my parents were like, okay. So sign up for flamenco, rock and roll, salsa, Bollywood.
Oh, that's.
I had lots of energy. I still do. And right now I'm doing Zumba 2 hours per week. And I'm swimming 1 hour per week. And I go hike on weekends.
Jeez, you have a lot of stuff going on.
I think health is so important. Yeah. Without health, you don't have anything.
Yeah. It's like I need to exercise more. I maybe need to spend more time working in the kitchen.
You can shuffle more.
Yeah. Interesting.
I'm spending time digesting calories. Sometimes I'm so tired, I'm too tired to eat, and I'm like, then it's counterintuitive because if you eat, you get more energy. But I'm so tired, I cannot eat.
A lot of your friends are very active, like sportive, like work out a lot.
I have both. I have lazy friends too. It's a good diversity because some friends you can chill with and some friends you can do activities with. It's nice to have a mix so you're not always in one or the other. What about your friends?
I don't have friends anymore. Seriously, I don't have time. I used to have a lot of friends. We had 7 years. Before 7 years, we used to have like people from different Hong Kong, Taiwan, mainland, also here. But on Facebook, like we met from this party, that party. We had people, and then we added Facebook, and we went to we had a lot of kind of parties. We play poker, we together, and and after I had a restaurant, everything stopped.
But because you have a restaurant, you could organize events. Baby showers, birthdays, celebrations, weddings.
Too small, especially the restaurant before was too small.
What about now?
Now, pandemic. I have the place. Yeah, I have the space ready.
It echoes. It's so empty.
Yeah, it's seriously.
Oh. Because my friends have rented rooms before for parties. And you're in a popular area. You're downtown, lots of students, young people.
But we still have not figured out how to keep people, a big group of people, like 20 or 30 or some. It's kind of, because we're not, Chinese food has to be hot. It's not like a sandwich or some salad.
Oh, I see.
You can put like aside. I don't think Chinese food is ever good for an event, to be honest. It's very, very, unless you pick some kind of Chinese food. Can be served cold.
But what about you revolutionize that?
What is that?
How about you make up recipes that are meant to be cold? You know, some people find it weird to have iced coffee. They prefer to have it hot.
Yeah.
And then both exist.
But I don't know. I don't have confidence on myself to come up with. I mean, I'm not even a cook, so it's very, very tough. That's why I say, like, I'm just doing a business, the Chinese restaurant business. I do not expect it's good, very good. You know, I try my best, but I'm not, professional.
You know, I feel the same way. Even in science, I'm not spectacular at all. That's why I chose to have safety, because I know I cannot be the best at it. But it's easier to be good at two things than to be great at one thing. Just like, you know, like the Olympic athlete, they're good at one thing, but if they break a leg or something, what else do they have? It's good to have diversity in your skills as well.
But with your skills, knowledge, everything, experience, I don't think you will be concerned with like career, your security, right? You can live very well everywhere.
I think I'm working on two things right now. I have two goals for the rest of this year. I want to learn programming, and
Programming, seriously?
Programming and investments.
Oh man!
And then I'll be unbeatable.
That's kind of, I say, crazy. I see sometimes people are like too ambitious.
Is it scary?
Yeah, it's scary. My major in university was computer science. Seriously, I never did any coding.
Oh, I thought that was engineering.
No, we call it computer science. But it's like in China, we always call computer. But engineering, software, we all the same. I don't know.
Then what have you learned?
Everything regarding
you mean like the theory?
Yeah, theory, mathematics, the C language, the programming, the data structure, all that kind of theory. You don't need them for coding sometimes, but we learned a lot of that stuff. But I was not. A lot of my classmates, they end up doing programming, but I did not. I was doing the technical support.
I see.
So my first job was technical support to some projects, like technical projects.
Does it make as good of money than programming?
I think the same, but it's more secure. Jobs on the job security, it's better, like long term with the programmer.
I think it's like everything. When you learn a skill, it's good to have a niche. It's good to have a specialty.
Yeah.
So if I want to stay in science, I think it would be a good goal to be in computational neuroscience. So you can program, but still within research.
I think that's crazy though. Computer programming is totally different. But you know, a lot of people are ambitious, very ambitious. And you said investing as well.
Investing as well, yeah.
Investing.
I've been reading a lot of books about finances. I mean, I've been interested in investing. I started investing at 23, and then investing more aggressively at 28, and now I really want to get more interested in that because...
Jeez, you will be super rich, I can see.
But there's a lot of things you can do as a consumer. Like if you buy the right stocks, you're promoting the right companies. And I think it's more important to put money into what you value rather than into what makes money, because you can invest in Coca-Cola and McDonald's. They're going to make money, but it's not necessarily what's good for the environment or for social causes. So I think I want to be smarter with my money. It's more about purpose.
I think
because if I give my money to a bank, they'll invest it the way they want. They can invest in petrol or anything that
like,
I don't
if
believe
you drive a Tesla, we're helping Tesla like shares.
Yeah.
Tesla went up crazy.
I know. For the last 5 years, it's insane.
So you have a podcast, a really nice job, and then doing this crazy thing. I'm teaching languages.
Yeah. It feels like I'm all over the place because some people can see this as, yeah, it's good you're doing so many things, but in France, the stereotype is you're really lost. You don't know what you're doing. You cannot focus on one thing. So
I guess sometimes it's the freedom you maybe your parents give you the education, give you smartness, and then you have the freedom to try different things. And even you fail a little bit on this side, it's not a big deal. You know, you still have something strong.
You know, it's funny how we met because we think kind of the same.
Yeah. But I'm very conservative, to be honest. That's why even I said I'm soft, really soft.
Do you mean financially in general?
I'm a laid back guy. I think a lot. I admire people try, but I don't want to try. I see people really take risks to strive for great stuff. I admire, but for me, I would not do that.
But it's funny because if it happens to you, you would adapt. So it's not like you cannot do it. It's
nobody push me.
You can push yourself.
I need to be pushed. I'm passively adapting.
But we need to have time, though. Time is everything. It's only during the pandemic that I started having time. Before.
But some people are meant to be great. I'm not one of that.
How do you know?
I'm lazy. Seriously, I'm lazy.
I think we're all lazy.
I like watching movies or like...
And you write in your blog still? Do you still write?
Yeah, I had one 2 weeks ago. Before that was 2 or 3 months, did not write. That's why I'm lazy. But I did a lot of work for the restaurant. A huge amount of work. Crazy, like during the pandemic. Seriously, I'm glad I was laid off by the company. Otherwise, I cannot do the two at the same time. So I was laid off. They gave me a package and helped me a little bit financially. And then I freed myself. Again, I'm passively adapting. I was laid off, not leaving the job. So they pushed me off some little cliff. So I can grow a wing in the air, so I did not land hardly.
You're such a poet, my gosh.
Seriously,
I've seen too many cartoons.
Yeah, I was pushed off the limit. I just grew a little wing to land safely.
Or maybe an eagle grabbed you.
Yeah. Seriously, I spent a lot of time. Without me working in this restaurant, will be much worse place, the restaurant. So I work a lot of hours. But then I go home at 10 or 11, 10:30. To be honest, I just go there, lie down there, watch YouTube for 1 hour or two. And then I fall asleep.
Do you shower?
Sometimes, not all the time. But I work really hard, but I'm lazy. If I don't have to work hard, I choose to watch TV.
But also, what's the meaning of life?
I don't know.
Do we know where we're heading? Like, the universe is one day going to explode, so...
That question I also want to ask everybody, because that's why I lay back, because like everybody gonna die at the end of the day, and like even you are 80 years old, you die, or 70, sometimes even 90 years old. Whatever you work so hard, you still die, leave nothing behind.
I mean, you have children, you can write. I mean, but I see your point. I think it has to do with how comfortable you are. If you're comfortable being laid back, do that. But I'm very anxious when I do nothing. I get stressed.
Yeah, I watch TV, still do something.
I get so stressed out when my body is not moving.
Yeah.
And I think my biggest fear...
It's like the movie Crank.
Crank?
Yeah, the what is that guy? Jason Tatum? The guy, like martial arts, really good. Jason.
Okay, I didn't watch that.
Yeah, he has a heart problem. He cannot stop. If he stop, his heart gonna explode. So he has to kill people, do all the crazy things.
Oh yeah, I think that's me.
Crank, yeah.
I need to watch this movie. They got
Jason
inspired by my
Tatum.
life.
Jason, the big star. Jason is an action star. Jason.
Okay.
His last name is. It's British, I guess. His last name is.
Because my biggest fear is immobility. It's the fact that you're paralyzed and you cannot achieve what you really want to achieve.
That may give some pressure to your future partner.
Listen.
Think about that.
Unless I get someone who's hyperactive like me.
And then,
then we can conquer the world.
Yeah. So I'm lazy. Sometimes my wife said, get up, do something. if she's super hyper, saying, you cannot stop. I watch a lot of YouTubes. You know, when I have time, I watch a lot of YouTubes. Yeah. And before I watched a lot of, to learn English, I watched a lot of American shows, sitcoms.
Which one did you watch?
A lot of them, Friends, many times. Mm-hmm. Desperate Housewives.
Oh,
that's always the best. I tell everybody that's the best show to learn English, because all dialogues, nothing else, no background music.
Do you want some water?
No, it's fine. It's fine. Thank you. So it's I watch the Weeds and the Modern Family, everything. Or the Breaking Bad, or the Dexter.
Oh, you like Netflix then?
Yeah, I signed with Netflix for more than 10 years at the beginning.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Even that's the thing. I want to cancel my Netflix. I haven't totally, because we did not have time, but we still pay. Now it's $15 or $16 every month. Used to be $8.99 when I signed.
Yeah, it used to be.
$8.99 I believe, or $7.99.
Oh my God.
Now it's $16. I did not have time to watch. Yeah. But you don't want to cancel, because sometimes they have a lot of the for the kids. My daughter can watch some of the cartoons there. It's crazy. That's my thing. I need to cancel that thing. I did not have time, and then watch some YouTube videos. I'm still learning my English, so I always watch the videos. They have the discussions, you know. Mm-hmm. The guest hosts, they always talk like we do, and then I learn English from them. Mm. But if you let me to watch that 24 hours a day, probably I would do that. Yeah, seriously, lazy.
To me, it's the same with socializing and partying. I don't necessarily like alcohol, but I like meeting people a lot. I'm like 100% extrovert, and if I could go to a party every night of my life, I think I would. And this is why I didn't accomplish much before the pandemic. Because during the pandemic, I realized how much time I not wasted, because I think relationships are the most important things. And this is the one thing that you leave behind is your impression on people.
Yeah, your interaction with people, yeah.
Yeah, how much you've helped them or impacted their lives. So I don't think it was a waste, but I think it took away from the time and energy that I could have put onto myself. And maybe it's more of a thing that women are not conscious about, is they give so much to others that they can forget themselves.
But that's really amazing, like meeting people. But how about if you meet some people you really don't like the ideas? Like
I put them on my podcast. Tell me why you think this way.
Yeah, because to be honest, if we meet like between Chinese, like normally we will talk about kids' houses.
Americans too. They talk about kids' house, barbecue.
And then we talk about politics. Then we turn against each other.
But you have to leave first, so they talk in your back.
No, actually, on the spot, you're gonna have some issues. Seriously. But I don't know, you just like funny things here or there. You don't. It's something people avoid, topics about politics, because I think a lot as well. I have a lot of, when we kind of very close or we talk about politics. Sometimes you feel people, I want to, don't like this guy, But you see a lot of people. Do you have some kind of friends like that, or you just don't talk about that thing?
I'm not a big politics fan. Honestly, it's changing
social
so
justice.
much.
Yeah, but sometimes.
Yeah, I think you need to be aware of that, especially if you invest in stocks, and that's my main fault. I mean, my main failure is I don't keep in touch enough with the news. My news are people. When people talk, this is how I get my news. Because I've read this book called The 4-Hour Weekday from Tim Ferriss, and it was one of the first things is reading the news is a waste of time because the media is always biased. So there's no real source.
I think I heard that guy is a inspiration guy, right?
Yeah.
Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, somebody recommend this guy.
Mm-hmm. And this is how you get more efficient. You don't get distracted by the noise. And I think there's so much noise. I also have issues trusting the media, trusting the sources. Especially during the pandemic, like there were so many versions. Do you remember like a few months ago, we just didn't know what this virus was and people started freaking out. There was fake news.
Yeah.
And because of all that, I feel like it's a waste of my time, me trying to decipher what's real and what's not real. That it messed up with me, so.
But where do you get your information then?
People, when they talk.
That's not efficient though. You cannot, grab a phone call middle of night. Tell me something, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh.
That's
why I have a lot of friends.
But a lot of them willing to talk in the middle of the night?
Not in the middle of the night, but with certain specialty.
And you group them A, B, C, D, and if I want to have some stocks, getting some problem, you call this group of people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This could be a superpower. It's like you don't know how to do everything, but you know people who can do multiple things. So if I need to fix my sink, I know who to call. If I need to know like what's new in the Middle East, I know who to call. But I don't need all this information all the time right now. But when I meet those people, they can tell me what they know within their specialty. But it doesn't mean that they tell the truth. It's from their perspective as well. And it's their interpretation. So I know it's limited.
But like investment, what about Facebook? Your friends tell you Facebook go up or down?
That you can check on your own. You can go on
Yeah, but
on the
the future.
For the future, I don't know.
Because
I'm not even there yet.
Yeah, people's connections, Facebook went up a lot.
And apparently you can cause an inflation by just spreading rumors. And then people will start freaking out and buy everything, and then it will create a...
But that's not our level. It has to be the big influencer, big level, high level people. They can create something like that kind of panic or whatever.
Yeah, but I don't think we should underestimate people, because you never know who someone knows.
You could be the guy stir up something.
I could
Behind
be the
scene, you're the one. Okay, let's stir up a little bit, then make a little bit bigger wave, and then financial crisis.
Little ripples.
Yeah, financial crisis. Yeah, that's crazy.
No, but that's the thing. You never know. Like right now, we're making a YouTube video, but we don't know that one person who's going to watch it. We don't need like tens of thousands of people watching it. We just need one person who watches it and then gets interested enough that they can create a giant storm out of it.
That's why you are so motivated.
I don't know. I don't think there's such thing as randomness, coincidence. I think there's something greater than us, like moving us somewhere. Maybe this video will lead to nowhere, but maybe...
I would definitely say one day you will be a big star somewhere. Some woman, I guess she was CEO of some... In the United States, she invented like some blood test, like with one drop of blood tell you everything. Remember that? That's like they said the lady, like a version of Steve Jobs. And she was huge. Several years ago, she got like billions of investment. Then was a Ponzi scheme.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but she was brilliant. Her career, the resume was amazing, and she kind of somehow came up with the idea to do the blood test to tell your health issues. Just one drop of blood, and he thought he gonna create that kind of machine, small box, portable. Every family can have one. She was on magazine, the Time magazine, everywhere. You can Google it up. Like,
how often do you have to test?
I don't know.
Because it changes.
Yeah, but that idea is really great with the like business opportunity. But problem is she could not do it. It's technically it's not that advanced. Maybe in 10 years or 20 years, like she could not do it. The scheme she had was like she got some one drop of blood, but she was using Siemens huge machine behind to do the test, tell you the result. So it was reported by a whistleblower. And then she had all the glamour, everything. Like she was the goddess of the business in the United States. You can Google the story. It's like they said she's Steve Jobs.
Okay.
And then one reporter was like doing this undercover thing and exposed the whole scheme. But she was
still alive?
Yes, still alive. She was, I guess, sentenced a few years in prison because of this Ponzi scheme. But she was really brilliant with a lot of motive. I'm not saying like one day you will create a big, crazy,
and then end up in prison.
super
like,
successful. But she was super brilliant. Like she was from Harvard somewhere, and then whole resume was amazing. Big companies, executives, and then.
I don't necessarily look for fame though.
Yeah,
but money would be nice.
Yeah, but people like with strong motivation, they most like. I guess all the successful people, like they have the same thing as the motivation and working really hard and crazy. I call these people crazy because like that's why I say like I don't see me as a little bit lazy, but I really work hard. I'm not afraid of working hard at all if I'm pushed there to work hard.
But does it depend who push you? So if
it's a situation. It's a situation.
Yeah, it's a situation, but let's say a random person on the streets tell you, hey, can you build this empire for me? I need you to create a bank system. No,
I mean, the situation means my wife, for example, she said, if you cannot make $50,000 a year, I'm going to divorce you.
Aren't you supposed to love each other unconditionally? What is this?
That's by words. Yeah, everything you say. Seriously, you cannot trust people's words. The words they always tell good stuff, but then, you know, you always like in Chinese, a very famous saying like it says like you have to spend with one people long time to know the true heart. Like when you meet like 7 months or like they all pretend to be really nice to you, but when the situation changes, when it's really hard, and they said the fair weather friends is not real friends, right? In English, something like that, right? The good weather friends or fair weather friends, not when it's really hard and they just run for themselves, they're not helping you.
And we've seen that during the pandemic.
Yeah.
We've seen like people being selfish, and we've seen people dedicating to each other. And I think it reveals people's true colors when you're in a situation of stress.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is also when I realized like who's a real friend and who's a party
Oh
filler.
yeah, that's the friends in need is friends indeed, right?
Yes.
Yeah, my friend.
You found it.
Yeah, my English is not that bad.
No.
Seriously, that's the situation. If I cannot find a good job, for example, I don't have a job, but the restaurant business is really tough, and then we have no profit, for example, and then we can have no profit for a month. But if the whole year or next year, probably the financial aspect of the family will be bad. My wife may say, "Come on, if we keep doing this, our kid cannot go to school or something. So we need to do something." So then probably instead of sleeping 8 hours, probably I sleep 4 hours, use another 4 hours to rob a bank or do something or a second job. Seriously,
Listen, if you rob a bank, you might not have to work for the next 10 years for rent, for food, for water, for shelter, whether you succeed or not.
Exactly. So both ways, either way, fine.
Both ways, if you succeed or if you don't succeed, you don't have to pay for food or rent.
I always have a fantasy of being a gun master to have a gun group.
A what master?
Like what
gun?
is it? Yeah, mafia.
Ah.
I like being a mafia. You know, kind of.
You should have lots of tattoos.
Yeah. You know, at least you have some control or something. You know, you don't have to do anything.
I mean, isn't it being an entrepreneur basically? Because even the mafia, I'm sure they're just like business people. They're just trying to do business.
Yeah.
They have different methods, but our goal is to make money.
Yeah, seriously, I really can work hard if I'm pushed. The situation, yeah, you never know. But for us, I think, I don't know, at least for me and my wife, if my kids, like she's 18, we get her into a good college, good university, it's fine. I think a lot of parents, I think they feel their job is done. And then you have a little bit better life or a little bit hard life, it's not that big of a deal.
I mean, for her, yeah, but what about for you?
We're fine. I think we're fine. Because I think in Canada it's very easy. That's why
there's lots of social help. Yeah. Quebec more than other provinces.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the life of the meaning of life. You are very motivated, but you work really hard to try a lot of different fields, different areas, and then sometimes you see success, sometimes fail, and sometimes you really feel bad about you missed out chance or you just made a mistake or really feel bad.
Yeah, happens.
Yeah, you see, but at the end you still end up being old, and then a lot of pain, back, neck, knee. You know, sometimes that's why the meaning of life. But some people, they super motivated, even they go through all this kind of stuff, and then they feel really happy because they tried, right? They tried to achieve something, failed something. That's why the meaning of life to different people are very different.
Yeah, or maybe it might not happen right away. Like some people can find their true calling at 18. They know exactly what they're going to study. They go into the major that they want to be fulfilled. And some people might just have that wake-up call around 60 or 70. So some people have different rhythm of life.
Yeah, maybe I can one day when I'm 60, probably I will start something. Oh, I need to hurry up.
Exactly.
I need to achieve something.
It's never too old.
Yeah, seriously, I think probably that may happen. Like this video thing, I always like talking to people. Like if I can record something, Probably something I can brag one day.
And then be like, look, I didn't have gray hair back then.
Yeah. Oh, look at that lady! That lady with. Oh no, it's on Time magazine. Look at the picture. Seriously, sometimes.
Sometimes it's gonna be funny to
Yeah.
look back.
Yeah, we did something.
I was also thinking the same with my podcast episodes, that I could look back on my first episode and be like, gosh, you sucked. Now you got so much better, but back then, first episode.
Yeah, you really pro. Like you did really pro, especially with
Oh my
the
God.
what is that Zoom, right? And the audio remote.
Yeah. I mean, it's much better this way because I don't have a proper studio, and I also live right in front of the train tracks. So in the summer, it's really difficult because you're dying of heat. You cannot put the fan because you can hear it on the microphone, and you cannot open the windows because you hear the train. So you just have to suffer in heat and just record 1 hour, and then you open everything.
That's why you have the quality. I don't have. My stuff is natural.
But also, you know what? Do you remember during the podcast I asked you a question about efficiency?
Yeah.
So why do you write down
Yeah,
your
efficient.
review?
Yeah, efficient.
Yeah, and to me it was the same because I love talking to people, but I was also tired of repeating myself. So I have this podcast, like talking about different themes, and sometimes I approach a topic or travel and be like, just go listen to this episode.
Please listen.
And let me know when you have any question.
Is that a
It's
code?
also-
it's kind of a code. Go to this URL. I give you URL link. One day, if you want to date somebody, okay, listen to all these 100 episodes first, and then come talk to me.
I'll be like, you know what, before we go on a date,
Yeah.
see if you want to hear about my life,
Yeah.
go listen to this episode.
100 episodes.
And then you'll know me.
And also some episodes from Cuisine on Dad's video. Check that video too.
And go eat at the restaurant,
Yeah.
it's really good.
Yep. That's cool though, really smart.
That's why I knew, like, we think the same.
Yeah. But really surprised you get a lot of stuff trying. Investment is, for me, investment is like, some people are really good at it. If you're not good at it, but somehow you will be take advantage of that. You know, it's kind of.
But you only know when you try. You know, it's like,
It's like gamble, the casino.
yeah, but you don't have to invest all your money at once. You start with $100, $200, and then you get better at it. You understand the system. You see how to follow. You can calculate.
Hey, do you know
can do
the
the news.
GameStop and AMC?
Uh-huh.
That's crazy stuff. It's still
I
going on.
know. I know.
And also the crypto. Crypto is big, huge.
Crypto, I'm very scared of.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Like penny
when they-
stocks and it's really crazy. But you only know if you try.
Yeah, you can make a. But if you're smart enough, there's some theory behind it, right? I think so. It's a.
I think there's a part of luck, just like gambling. Part of it has to do with being there at the right time and being on your screen at the right moment, because I'm not always on my computer. And I try to detach myself from screen, so I cannot always check, like, how's the market doing? So I know it won't be like a day trade or something, but it will have to be like a long-term investment for your own value. You still have to go check, though.
But they use computers right now.
Oh, yeah. But like,
It's
I
automatic.
think it's just, I get tired. Like my real job is on the computer. Even like we're working remotely, so I work from home. But we're gonna have to go back to the office. It's gonna be computer. When I teach, it's online, so I use Skype or
Yeah,
Zoom. So
all
that's
the time,
computer. Podcast is computer. When you edit the episodes, it's on computer. And at some point, I just feel like it's not even an addiction. It's compulsory. If you're not in front of a computer, you don't make money. So I started investing in those blue light blocking glasses on Amazon, $25, and they have like yellow glass. So when you put them on, it filters the blue light, and
Really?
I feel much better. Maybe it's psychological, but I feel better. And so it's nice to cut down from screens. So I also stop reading on my Kindle. I go to the library and I borrow the books. And I think it's better because then it creates opportunities to meet people, you interact with the community, and I like how, you know what, my taxes pay for that. Why don't I take advantage of the books from the library?
Library is amazing.
So I go every week, I borrow some books, and I like to do that before going to bed. Like, you have your YouTube ritual, I have my book ritual.
That's really... Actually, you can try this if you still have some room. This is really amazing.
Bread? I know this bread.
Yeah, pizza. Because with the sauce. Today is a special. When I went to buy the cucumber.
They sell this near my house. I cannot take a full one. I'll take just a little bit.
This pizza is amazing. It's on special.
You're so funny.
Yeah, I buy stuff on special. It's with the sauce. It's amazing.
You should try to make your own. You know what? I'll push you to that.
You know, I used to join Toastmaster. It's called Point Claire Toastmaster. During the pandemic, I found them because there was a teacher who 10 years ago, she has a debating group, like to practice English in West Island.
Yeah.
So somehow,
I think you told me.
Yeah, I think I found her so we did the Toastmaster thing. She introduced me to the Point Claire Toast online. Every Wednesday, Wednesday evening, I joined them through the Zoom. I joined 7 weeks in a row. That's 2 hours, 1 hour and a half. It was amazing. So people just talk Toastmaster.
You should send me the link because I was interested in that, and they had crazy hours.
You will be great fit for them. Great fit.
Because I really like the program, and I think before the pandemic, I tried to look at the meetings, and it was like Saturday, 8 a.m., and I'm like, there's no way I'm waking up this early.
It's really amazing. You will be great fit because your personality is great. Because I joined them 7 weeks in a row, and then I was busy in the kitchen. I had to have less people working there, so I had to make up. And then I dropped. I literally did not have time to join. You see, like making a bread. There's no way for me. But
it could be a new thing on the menu. See, it's the beginning of the Chinese buffet.
Pita.
Pita and sauce.
Yes. One more.
I'm full, thank you.
So it's
because I eat pita like this at home. I make all sorts of recipe with it. You can also, have this cold, put it in a roll it like a burrito, and eat it cold.
This thing is amazing. So a Toastmaster, it's really a great thing to really good opportunity to practice your
public speaking.
Yeah, public speaking. I was really looking forward to it, but I just did not have enough time. It's every time. It's Wednesday evening, 7 to 9 or something. So I'm always busy at night.
Yeah, usually I teach on Wednesdays, but I can always move around my hours because my students will book when it's available, and they always book when it's convenient for them. And if I book time off, then they won't take a class.
And people were talking so confidently, like in front of camera, like.
Yeah, I know. I really admire those people. So I've listened to podcasts like The Moth, Risks, and it's always people going on stage and telling stories. Of course, they prepare and they rehearse, but it's very scary.
Being a guest for several times, they asked me to answer some questions. So I was, it's very tough for me, very difficult. But I see it's very beneficial. People, I see some people not that good at speeches, but some of them really good, really good.
Yeah.
It's like a pro, like literally can do the TED.
I also want to improve on that because when I edit my podcasts, I know my voice is not loud enough, so I always have to increase. So if I could learn a certain way, on your diaphragm or on your throat somehow to augment the volume of your voice to be more expressive, I think that would be beneficial.
Yeah, you are pro. You are right. So I don't. In Chinese, my voice sounds horrible.
Why?
I don't know. maybe I know Chinese better more than English.
Why just in Chinese? What if you speak like Russian? Like, would it be horrible?
I think the same way. The English is horrible when I listen the playback. It's horrible, but
In what way? What do you mean horrible?
the
Just
sound
because
is
you don't like to hear your own voice?
the voice is coarse, or like all the pronunciation is. But but my English on the record is better than my Chinese. It's but still not good. It's bad, but it's the Chinese my Chinese on the video is just worse, much worse. So that's why I think I gave up on the Toastmaster thing, because I never can master that kind of a public speech to give them motivation, to give them to tell a story powerfully. All my stories are soft.
I felt the same for me too.
It's no power in it. So, but
I
that's
think
the way
you
it
can
is.
work on it, but some people are born naturally with a voice that carries,
Yeah.
carries forward, carries over. But I'm sure you can practice it. It's like singing. You have singing coaches. They can help you sing louder.
It's like for me, for example, if I talk to employee, to people working, if I have a big corporation, myself, I'm the owner, so I talk to them, and then they would never listen to me. I guess this is not leader, so probably I say, you are fired, that's all. Only thing I can do, you are fired. I don't want to see you anymore. But don't show disrespect to the leader. Seriously, that's my problem.
No, seriously, did you have to fire people a lot in your life?
No. Because as a small business owner, you work for them, not they work for you. That's true. Because you have to make them happy. Otherwise, they leave, you have big trouble. It's unfortunate. The small business owners, a lot of them, I think, at least I'm a failure maybe. I'm not successful dealing with people.
I think success has different definition for other people. For some people it's money, like having a lot of employees and a lot of customers, and for other people it's just being sane. If you're happy this way, you've succeeded.
I just want to live on. So I don't know, it's like one day could be the business is bad or something. Just don't know, I just keep the status quo maybe. That's being lazy as well.
But it's good to not freak out when you lose money or when there's something wrong happening or when your business went into flames. You just don't lose your cool.
I panic as well, but only for a little short while. Even today, I really
Yeah? You thought I was not going to come?
no, before at 12 I went to buy the cucumber thing, and with this
And the
special
pita?
pita, and the price just went up crazy a lot because in the past week or several weeks we got the new price for everything. And
So do you have to readjust your price? What's going to happen?
we have to I guess we have to keep going because the price you cannot raise it. I guess at the end everybody's going to raise the price, but you don't want to be the first batch. I don't know, because some people may say we're already overpriced. But so it's kind of you probably get much less business if you kind of say, oh, you raise price again.
But so what's the trick? Do you reduce the portions?
No, we just take the loss.
Is that true?
We just take the loss. Hope this thing will finish in a few months. The impact on the business, I guess I just realized recently, at the beginning or in the middle of the pandemic, the financially was not that bad, but now it's starting. The real pain just started for the small business.
And would the government help you in some ways?
I don't think so. They were at the beginning. They were having the forgivable loan, something, and also the payroll you can claim, but they can only deduct if your sales decrease by 10%, you can only get 10%. if you sales down 50%, you get 50% of that. If you down 50%, you're dead anyway. if you down 10% on the sales, you get only 10%. But the problem of the cost of everything, even your sales only down 10%, but your profit down maybe 50%. So that's but right now even there's no much help right now. But the problem is like the cost of everything went up a lot because the shipment, the cost of shipment between United States, Canada to China, like 3, 4, 5 times higher, the cost of shipment. So everything like imported from China, so expensive because of the shipment cost. And it's just beginning.
Would you be able to change your menu to have less expensive items? So if meat is the most expensive, just offer more vegetarian options. So this way you can keep a high price, but also...
That would be tough though, because you change the menu, that would be another thing. The customer will react.
I mean, which is not a bad thing for the environment to eat less meat either.
We don't have a lot of meat on the menu also. But the problem, the cost is this. This is from China, the red pepper.
Okay.
And the black bean paste. And it's super crazy right now. Just realized.
Changes a lot of the flavor, I like that.
Yeah, without that there would be no Chinese food. you say we don't put them, but it's the cost is crazy. Imagine the shipment cost 7 times.
Wow.
5 times, 7 times.
You know, when I was living in California, they had a similar crisis with lime.
Yeah.
They used lime a lot in Mexican food and also in cocktails. And when the price of lime started increasing, it's like $1 or $1.50, and it used to be a few cents per lime. And so people started complaining, and they found some substitute. Like they either put lemon, or they put something else, and customers started going crazy. They were so angry. And so they had to do something for the price of lime, I remember.
I remember, like last week we had a customer on the TripAdvisor somewhere. Had a review. I received email notification like somebody leave you a 1-star review.
Yeah.
Says I only saw that horrible, overpriced, with the cost of ingredients this high, and you see overpriced. That's
wow, that's insane. Do you remember this guy?
I don't actually. Oh yeah, actually it's a lady, I guess.
It's a lady?
Yeah, she ordered probably takeout. Some people, they did not know things were expensive. Things are expensive. They just, I got the janitor chicken, you charge me $12 and it's not good. And overpriced.
But I don't think it's constructive criticism. See, if I were to leave a review to a place that I don't like, I would try to tell them how they can improve, not just criticize on how bad it is.
Anyway, I mean, the price
it's not good education.
It's just right now the cost of everything. I think for our business, it's really...
But if you change provider?
You have no way. Because, for example, this stuff, they all come from China. The shipment, the cost of shipment is not the producer price. The producer did not change the price. It's the shipping company.
Okay. Can you change shipping company?
You can't. Because this stuff only existing there. So...
Can you start a business of shipping? Can you start a shipping business?
That's a good way. Because these companies... And also you are competing, our suppliers, they are competing with IKEA, competing with Costco, because they use the containers as well. So they always get the priorities.
Yeah, and there's only so much that you can authorize in a day.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Interesting.
And we cannot find people.
Can you grow those peppers here?
No.
Why do you have to ship them?
Maybe that's new business model, but it will take a year.
Because I'm pretty sure if you need warmer climates, you can definitely go to South America, and
then I will give up the restaurant business and then doing the farming, which would be good, to be honest.
It would be very peaceful.
Yeah, just like have a lot of pigs, everything. Then the life is a circle.
Yeah.
I was coming from village, now I have a farm.
I know. So my last podcast episode was about this. It was about farming. And my guest is from Colorado. He's renting a house. And you only need a few acres to feed like 10 families. If you know how to organize your plot of land, and if you know how to grow smartly and not just grow because you want to grow tomato, you have to have tomatoes. Like, no, you can toss all the grains, all the seeds together, and then throw them in your garden, because this is the way nature works, is by survival of the fittest. So you get the best vegetables that grows, and the ones that are too weak, they don't grow, and so you always breed the best, and then you eat seasonal. So
Are you sure you're not tricked?
that's what he said. I haven't verified. I'm a city girl.
No, I know, but if you have to grow so much to make the profit, because I think farm is pretty tough as well.
You also need to not ship so far, so it would feed locals. So this way you can charge the basket. You charge per basket. The customers don't decide what they get. They get seasonal. And
because I like the idea you throw things, let the best win. But if the best cannot produce enough like food or the growth,
it's one huge pumpkin and that's it. The one pumpkin.
Yeah, and then you sell only $50 for this year, or like even you have the sales of $100,000, and you with the other cost, you probably let's go back to my full-time job. It's like,
I think we need to have more, like, farmers, they cannot be pressured too much by supermarkets. That's the danger of it, is that supermarkets can decide the price. Like, they can tell farmers, next month I need 15 kilos of strawberries. So, but if the farmers decide, because they're the ones growing the food, then they can set their prices on it. And I think it should be this way, not the other way around.
yeah, but sometimes the market, unless you have a lot of farmers doing the same way. Otherwise, if you don't sell, but other farmers,
True. And now everything's driven by profit, so that's why you have the pesticides, you have the genetically modified food, GMOs. Because everything is about a race, racing towards the best, the fastest, the cheapest.
The same thing, you throw the grains on them. Let the best grow.
This is nature. This is what happens in the forest. You don't decide. You don't make lines of strawberries, lines of tomato. We have engineered to be too ordered, too perfect. I mean, you can listen to the episode. It's really cool.
I will find out.
He's a bit angry about it, and I like his energy because it's going back to our sources. And his theory was that, like, our grandparents were doing it because they had to. You have to grow the food. And so what they valued as luxury is time and comfort and sitting in front of the TV, because that's what they don't have. And now our generation have too much TV, too much time, and they value meaning, they value purpose. So they're going back to the sources, they're going back to farming and roots, because it's exactly where we come from.
There's a wisdom saying, like Chinese wisdom. That's why when you are fed too well, you are fed too much too well, and then you find them crazy stuff, nonsense sometimes. That's bad. Actually.
But see, that's like the son of that rich man who was bragging about his 100 million. It's that. What's the meaning of your life?
Yeah, it's interesting. I need to check that one. It's because
I think you will like this episode. It's the last one.
Yeah, because the farming is supposed to be very, very hard, because you have to compete with other efficiency. Because you can grow, for example, the lettuce or the apple, or any vegetable, or very nice, super nice. But if other people, they can produce not that beautiful, that nice, that quality, but they can produce twice the quantity, and they can find a market. Probably you will be dead.
You know, I think that's what I've heard about the milk industry. The reason why our milk is so expensive is because we could import it from the United States, which is way, way cheaper. Like, milk is super cheap in the States, but Canada refused to do this because all the farmers in Canada would go dead, broken, if you start doing this, because they cannot compete with the farms in the States where you have so many cows, and here we don't have as many cows, so you have to control it.
That's why
to keep the farmers alive.
That's why I asked the efficiency, like the way they do the rows to seed by rows, because it's to increase the efficiency. Sometimes easy to harvest.
Yeah.
and easier to manage, and then you kind of put the fertilizer, whatever, easier to manage. That's the industry. It's already industrialized a lot. So
it's for us to have comfort, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we teaching our children the right value, because now when you ask a child, where does the food come from? They'll tell you the supermarket. Where does the pig come from? Supermarket. They don't understand that food has to grow a certain way, and we forgot that. And even me living in a city, like I don't get exposure to that, and I think it would be beneficial if you take children on a school trip to bring them to farms or to bring them to the mountain to see, look, this is the impact on ecology. This is the repercussions of your food habits, or your cooking, or your wasting. This has an impact on nature, and when you see the impact, when you see like what it does to consumers, what it does to the producers, and what it does to nature, then you're more conscious of everything you do, everything you eat, everything you buy.
That's good stuff.
Education, again.
Yeah, it's like the education monsters with S, right?
Yeah.
Why did you choose that name, monsters?
I get that question asked a lot, and honestly, it was just I wanted to build a blog.
You think you are crazy monsters?
I don't think it's the part of crazy. I wanted more playful, fun part, that education doesn't have to be pressured, squared like school. It cannot be like something prestigious like Harvard. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for developing diversity. And in this case, we cannot put people into boxes. So we each are monsters. We're different. Like we all like weird, and we all. It's
I like being weird.
There's no normal.
Yeah.
So that's the fun part of the name. But it's honestly, I was just in front of my computer looking for domain name. I was ready to launch my blog, and it just appeared. I didn't think about it for weeks or anything. It just came at the moment when I wanted to register my domain name. That's it.
That's a great name. Actually,
thank you.
You have the power. You have to have the power, and then monsters. Yeah.
And it's funny because when I was looking for a logo, so I designed my logo, but at first I was getting inspired by, you go on Pinterest, you go on Google image, and you have two kinds of monsters. Either they're scary or they're childish. And I didn't want either. I wanted like a serious vibe, but also playful.
Kill people.
But not childish. Not childish.
Yeah, monster. Education monster. That's really... But like, what is your goal? Like, you may achieve different fields, but on this field, what's your goal? Like,
I think, it's to give access to education. And I'm not saying like giving a diploma, because we have too many, like we have an inflation of diploma, but I'm really getting people to think differently. So I teach French and English, but I also use lots of games, and I don't necessarily stick to grammar exercise. I play chess with my students. I teach them games. I teach them tricks. I teach them ghetto language, because you have to be well-rounded. You have to want to travel.
But how do you teach though English? How do you teach? Face-to-face or Zoom?
Oh, online. Everything's
not Zoom. Is some other tools or just Zoom?
I use Zoom and Skype. It depends on the preference of the student.
But
it's not a big difference.
How do you know what kind of levels they have to be? Like beginners or
every level?
Really? You have to see their level first.
First, during the presentation, you cannot start teaching unless you know
what
this person has and where this person is going. So you ask them, what's your goal? What do you want to accomplish? And what's your method? Like, do you prefer writing? Do you prefer
But you are judging them, like...
You have to assess them. You cannot just say, oh, today we're
going to
deal
what
with
about this guy speaks okay French, but he's totally idiot?
Then I'll help you. I'll help you my best.
I see you speak this level, but from this level to this level, it will take you 5 years.
Listen, it happened when I had more difficult students, and I try not to judge them, because I'm pretty sure if you put me, I don't know, astrophysics, I would suck at it. So if I don't want to be judged on astrophysics, I wouldn't want to judge someone on French. We all have different weaknesses and strengths, and it's not a matter of how difficult, it's like how consistent are you at it. So if you go back every week or every 2 weeks and then try, because we all have different lives, so French, I'm sure it's not someone's life goal, it has to be fun, it's a hobby. It has to stay fun, and if it's not fun, it's not going to be consistent. They're going to hate it.
But more people learning French or more than English, right?
More French than English.
Yeah, I guess so, because people speak English more or less nowadays.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I get maybe 85% French, 15 English. That's about my ratio.
Wow, is that like one-on-one or like a small group?
Both.
Oh, that's quite interesting.
So most of them is one-on-one. I happen to have some groups because it's a better business model. Since for them it's less money because they split the price. And for me, I charge more, but you can also get paid more within 1 hour. Yeah. And you can put as many people. Yeah. I mean, my biggest group is a group of 3 or 4. Yeah. So I don't want more because then it becomes a class, and then. But
they have to be very similar level. They are the similar level.
They have to start at the same time, and they have to follow classes at the same time. But usually it's like a group of friends, so they book me as a group.
That's cool. So this English French teaching, and then the podcast. That's 2 full-time job, and then investing. That's 5.
But the podcast, I don't make that much money. I get donations. Yeah. So this is how it works. It's like if you want to support my project, you can give $20 every month, and this is, or 5 or 10 or 1. So this is how I get extra income, but it's not much.
Is like so the French English teaching, then this podcast, and then you have investment, then you have what is that? What is the other one you were doing?
The programming and
programming, 5 areas. If you kind of you have a lot of time.
But that's the thing. I'm not great at any of them. I'm good at them. I'm not great.
It's like the perfection is the enemy of doing something.
Great is the enemy of good.
Something. Why I always have something wrong? But close.
Close. I get the meaning.
Great is the enemy of good. Yeah.
You can have the inverse too. You can say good is the enemy of great. Like you can just be satisfied with something that's mediocre and not strive for the best.
Yeah, I think you have some people they just don't accept being mediocre.
I think it's me. I don't accept mediocre, but I'm also okay being imperfect. Like it depends on your own standard. I think it's subjective.
Yeah, I like mediocre. That's actually mediocre. This word it took me a long time to remember. It's kind of a weird word, mediocre. It's a.
We have the French word. Mediocre.
Yeah, that's the thing. Exactly. That's why it's unfair to Chinese people to learn English or French. The English people, French, even they pronounce very differently, but they write same lot of words.
Sometimes I have to apologize on the French language's behalf.
Yeah, it's kind of unfair. It's unfair. I see a lot of when I learn French, I see, whoa, this French word literally the same spelling as the English word. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. And it's like cheating.
The fancy English words come from French.
Yeah, I really like some like some English word you don't use them very often, but it's really a French word.
Yeah, just like to distribute, most people would say to hand out.
Yeah.
But we don't have prepositions, so we would be more likely to say to distribute because it's a French word. Yeah. But Americans, they say to hand out. Yeah. I'll hand out this flyer.
And when you say I distribute the flyers, looks like right?
It's like when I was in the States, I was driving and I told my friend I received a ticket because I was I think it was parking or something. And then he said, "What? You received a ticket?" Seriously? I got a ticket.
Yeah, I received a ticket.
I got a ticket.
How about you receive $1 million?
You're so fancy.
You receive a big item. Yeah, that's seriously like I purchased when I was UK. I purchased an apple. Like you don't purchase an apple, you buy an apple. Like, purchase sounds so big, like a big item.
Purchase then an iPhone.
Yeah, exactly. The huge, expensive stuff.
Yeah,
that's
stick to your level. It's just an apple.
Yeah, but it's like I guess your podcast. Have you kind of have some people like really like crazy have jokes like weird people?
No, I'm kidding.
I'm not weird.
No, I did. And sometimes, so here's when it comes to the ethical issue of censorship. because some people say stupid shit, so you want to cut them out, and I have this power because I'm editing my podcast. So sometimes it's easy to say, okay, I don't agree with this, I can cut this off. Except that it's not fair for me to just, I don't know, I don't want to be God. I don't want to censor somebody. But I also think that you have a certain responsibility to not promote hate, to not promote messages of violence. So you also have this duty to not propagate something that would be negative for the population. But on the other hand, it's a balance.
That's why our stuff, no editing. Seriously, that's my theory.
I don't know if it's laziness, honestly, because I could just put my episodes not editing, and that would save me 20 hours, literally, like every week.
Yeah.
But I'm also perfectionist that I don't want to put something ugly, because I know if I listen to an ugly podcast, if the sound is not good, I won't listen to it. And it's the same if I look at food and if it's ugly, I would be maybe less likely to enjoy it, but I will still eat it.
You see, that's mediocre me. Everything for me is real, is fine. Actually, you are very smart. You think it's lazy. It saves me a huge amount of time. I don't need to do anything. It's amazing. But that's another good theory, like one stone, three birds for me. Lazy, save time, and also like real. I really like things be real because I understand people want to show the nice side and the editing and make like doing the the filter thing when you take picture automatic filter make you look prettier. Yeah, that makes sense. You see, that's why a lot of people, even they editing the conversation, sometimes they don't like this part of conversation, or some people's opinion not appealing to a lot of people, or like harmful, detrimental to the society. But I think sometimes, for me, I want to throw everything there. If I made mistake, I made mistake. If this, it's not big deal to show the unbeautiful side. That's why I think my stuff, I want to keep it, even nobody watches or something, I want to keep it for long to see, like, at least it's real. Real could be very powerful.
I see what you mean, but it's not because you remove that it's not real. Like, it still happened. But for example, my podcasts, some of my guests, they're not usually, like, they're not Toastmasters, like, they're not public speakers, so sometimes they stutter, sometimes they cough, sometimes they say, or too often.
Oh, wait a second, I go to the bathroom.
Yeah, sometimes there's technical noise issue, or there's an ambulance, and I think for my listeners, they would get annoyed.
Yeah, exactly.
They would get so annoyed if they listen to, like, how are you, like, today, like, how's, like, the weather,
You're talking about me! I have that issues. Yeah, I have.
But there's so much worse than you, and sometimes I'm like, oh gosh.
Seriously, one video I said seriously 100 times.
Then I would cut this off like 90 times, and then just leave one, maybe. Just because for the listener's perspective,
exactly.
I don't want to annoy them.
Also waste their time, to be honest.
But it doesn't remove the message if you remove the because people say a lot.
Actually,
and I wish I could like program an AI to remove the and the
Yeah, that's totally, because it's the two sides of the thing. For me, I want to show the true stuff, not cut, no editing, but at the same time wasting a lot of people's time. If they ever want to watch the videos, they waste their time. It's I don't know. That's the thing. I just let it go, let it be. It's like when I shoot the video to explain every dish, and it's super long, and it's 20 minutes, and I have to 20 times faster to squeeze them to less time for them to, even much less, they still don't watch. but still, people told me the feedback is it's too long. That's
what I heard from my podcast too. So 30 minutes, and then afterwards people lose attention. But it depends, because like Joe Rogan, he has the real episodes, he doesn't edit, and so people like that it's genuine.
I watch, actually, when I cut vegetables, I listen to a lot of his stuff. It's crazy because their conversation probably like really like real discussion on real stuff. Like,
and it's like 2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours.
It's super popular.
Yeah,
so sometimes it works. You just have to get the attention, and then I think so the time. I think someone's time is what's most precious. So that's why I don't want to take too much of it.
Yeah. So it's crazy. It's.
But I remember I had one episode when I recorded it. It was about 1 hour 40 minutes, and the person was going round and round, repeating the same thing again and again. So when I edited the podcast, I think he went about 40 minutes, but it didn't remove the message. I was just removing the repetitions. So the message is still there, but I'm not annoying.
It's like you're watching Korean TV shows. The episode 1, you can skip to go all the way to episode 50. Still the same thing. That's Korean. Yeah, Korean.
Soap operas.
Yeah, soap opera. Yeah.
I don't watch them, but you have to recommend me some.
Yeah, it's crazy. We watch a lot of that. Chinese people love the Korean soap opera. And you don't miss anything.
Your Korean?
No, not at all. But the subtitles, Chinese,
Okay.
subtitles. But your show, sometimes I listen. Like one show is a Japanese girl you met somewhere, and then she was talking. Like on your show is Japanese, like American Japanese, and like her dad, her mom married to in the United States.
Yeah.
I heard that gave me a lot of like ideas about like what Japanese, that generation, what they see the West, the United States. That's very helpful to kind of.
I'll tell her.
Yeah, it's always like you listen to different people's story, get you kind of refresh your impression about a lot of things. Like as I said, I'm really fascinated by the people growing up here, like totally different environment, or like even immigrants. Like I call floating in different countries. In Chinese call floating. Seriously.
Literally.
Floating in different countries. Like it's kind of outsiders. Like you're outsider. Sometimes you cannot understand the language is French. For me in French, Quebec, when they speak French, I cannot understand what they are doing, what they're saying, and sometimes like English, not the conversation too fast, I cannot catch. But it's given me the thing to give me more time to understand myself. I want to understand their stuff. Always adapting here there. So it's like sometimes I have the opinion about their society, Quebec society, comparing to the society I came from. So a lot of this stuff, sometimes you feel, I regret immigrating. Sometimes people, especially my generation, like 10 years ago, they came here, and then they left behind a lot of opportunities. Like their friends, their relatives, they make a lot of money, or they have a better career, and they give up a lot of stuff. They came, like have to learn French, English, and then do the basic stuff like low-level career jobs. Like, but they had been there 10 years, being a manager already, right? Sometimes doing the management, or they had a good foundation already. But sometimes they give up a lot of stuff. You came here. Sometimes always think back. You're gonna think, if I didn't do this, it's always, even for the immigrants, a lot of times you think compare when you, especially when you are different. It's very different two environments. You always compare. That's by nature, I think. It's not myself.
True. But it's not because something could have been that it would have been better.
Yeah.
So there's always a part of us, and if we believe in the multiverse, I think deep inside, you know that the choice that you made, even though, like you said, it was pushed by external circumstances by someone else, it was sort of helping you grow. Because if you had stayed back in China, would you have grown the same?
I don't know. It's crazy. That's why we need to tell stories. It's really, I have a lot of friends. That's why we argue. we argue because not only politics, on education, on the way of thinking, everything we argue. We have WeChat groups. We argue every day by texting.
See, you have friends.
Yeah, we virtual friends. Sometimes
they count.
Like one group and fight against another group. It's crazy. And then I have two buddies backing me up, and then have several guys together attacking your opinions. Seriously, we have a lot of times, not only about politics, about cultures, about opportunities, about children's education, and how they grow up, how they see the world. Because definitely, next generation and our generation, they will see very differently. They will see Canadian way of doing things or Canadian politics very, very different from us.
Just because technology is going so fast and our bodies and our minds are not going as fast. So I know we can do so much better with technology, it's just that people are not ready for it. When you look at all the Republicans, they're reticent to change. They miss what we had in the past. They miss the harmony, they miss the fact that it's ordered. And now that we're progressing, it's scary to have change because we never know if it's changed for the better or if it's changed for the worse.
Yeah, you never know.
There's a chance that it could be for the worse because now we're more divided than ever.
Yeah. And also, like, for personal stuff, for the, like, family thing, like, we are several, like, more than the age difference, we call it gap. Like, sometimes, like, within the same city in China, with the same place, people, like, if you are 10 years different, the age different, and we call a gap, even 5 years, because sometimes we see things so differently on the same subject, same object, and we see things totally different opinion, and then you have 20 years different, and then one generation, we call always generation gap, but sometimes generation gaps happen between only 5 years old, 5 years different.
True.
And,
very true.
And
it's accelerating.
Yeah, and also exactly when the problem will be much worse than, like, our background is Chinese and our kids will be totally Canadian. That would be super difficult.
I mean, you never know. What if your daughter wants to live in China?
Yeah,
like,
but that chance will be,
nothing tells us that she will stay in Canada. Like, we never know. Maybe she'll live in another country. Maybe she'll go explore the world.
Yeah, she's gonna float again.
Yeah, she will float again.
You're gonna float. Yeah, it's everybody. I was lucky to be able to float, to see different countries, and then that's why I adapt a lot. And I'm not that stubborn. But a lot of some other people, they really, like you said, conservative. Chinese conservative. It's 100 times more conservative. It could be. And you know, the people's minds, they see different environment, they adapt, but sometimes they want to go back, they compare to the old ways, and then they say this too new to them and too crazy, especially like back then, like in China that time. And it's crazy. I have a lot of friends, they see I'm weird, I see them weird. You know, it's the minds are crazy, but a lot of them, they don't want to come to the show to tell the story. That would be amazing sometimes.
But do you think it has to do with the fact that they are expected to look up to the elders, so they look up to the past? Because if you admire, like, your parents who took care of you so much, then you also admire their way of thinking, because it's them as a person. And I think it's more of an Asian dad mentality. So when you tell them something's about to happen, like, look, I've chosen to do this career, first they say no, and then they ask why. But first they have to say no, because no is your comfort zone. No feels good, feels like you're staying in your place. And then you try to understand why. But there's no, okay, tell me more about it. It has to be a no first.
Yeah, but I think for the Chinese, that generation, for my generation, if I see, we are the new generation, our parents' our generation was exposed to technology. So our generation was the first one exposed to a lot of technologies, computers, everything. So I think on the social side, we won't look up their generation. We probably will think they don't know a lot of things we know. But that would be the same, will be next generation to us. That's why probably for them, they don't give us too much advice. That's why our generation more really rebellious to them, to that generation.
And I'm sure they had their rebellious phase, but in a different way. Yeah. It's just that we feel like we're much more important than them, just because we have this sense of entitlement and we can put it on media. So it feels like we're more narcissistic, but I'm sure they also had their own phase of, every generation I think has their own phase of differentiating from their parents.
Anyway, so that's why I always like want to see the the generation. So, but you are the, but I always say you're born there. Like I always compare like my daughter. She's only 8. Sometimes like all the put on the same class, but it's not the same class.
But you know what? I like your video project because you can also look back and let's do that again in like 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, and see how the conversations change.
Yeah, you will be great. Actually, I will definitely. If you like 5 areas, and you will probably do great, and then it will be huge change.
It will be changing. Yeah.
And what do you see like in few years? You're like all this kind of branching out.
In a few years, like with or without the pandemic, I still want to be able to work from home and to be pandemic proof.
Really?
Like not to be constrained to a lab where you have to go there physically. Like I had to go on weekends. Like I depended physically on my work environment. So when you couldn't go because of the lockdown, this is when my job had to suffer. So if I can work fully on a computer or something, that would mean freedom for me. And freedom to me is success. Because then I'm multicultural, so I have my family in France, I have my friends in the US, I have friends
everywhere.
here.
You're everywhere.
Yeah, I want to not miss out, so I haven't been back home in France in 2.5 years. I'm going back next week for a month.
That's great.
And I feel like I missed out so much on weddings, babies. A few of my cousins got babies, and I just feel like because of the distance, the physical distance, I'm missing out. But if I can work remotely, I can be everywhere and be in people's lives and have them in my life. Because relationships are so important. I don't want to be away just because of something so stupid as the pandemic. I'm not saying it's stupid in the sense, I mean, it is serious, and that's why we're not traveling. And I'm taking this very seriously, but I think it's years that you'll never get back. Months and years you'll never get back.
At least 2 years.
Yeah.
At least. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.